Good evening,
Um,
brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen of the media. I first of all want to thank the European Union, the European Commission, Charles, and all the heads of government of the European Union and of CELAC for being involved in what will, I think, turn out to be a historic gathering. The relationship between CELAC and the European Union is stronger today than it was yesterday or the day before yesterday as a consequence of this agreement. It's a wide-ranging agreement of 41 paragraphs touching and concerning all the major contemporary issues which concern us, both regions. CELAC and, well, Europe really remade the Caribbean and Latin America and remade itself. And each region, each of their respective civilizations has to come to terms with the process of this remaking and the consequences of this remaking. States, but a relationship between civilizations. But a relationship between civilizations. Latin American, Caribbean, and European civilizations. We touched on the wide range of practical issues which Charles raised, and not everybody got the language which they wanted. You would expect that there would be disagreements, and it was hard going to get the declaration, but we have arrived at this particular point. Issues touching and concerning climate change, the financing of climate change, the reform of the international financial architecture, inclusive, sustainable development, some matters which have arisen out of history for which there are contemporary manifestations of historical legacies, like, for instance, slavery and the slave trade. Issues on Ukraine, on other conflicts, on the terrible embargo against Cuba, the question of involvement of the private sector in the development of Latin America, the Caribbean, and Europe. The issues of international human rights and good governance and multilateralism and the defense of international law, defense and promotion of international law, fundamental precepts of the Charter of the United Nations made flesh. We have been not together for 8 years in a summit, and in a sense we can borrow from a poem, I'm sure you know it, by Octavio Paz, Nobel laureate for literature from Mexico, in the poem Release, where he addresses the question that we grew, we withered, and then we sprouted again. CELAC EU, we grew, we withered, and we have now sprouted again. And what we have to do, we have to go to our body's edges amidst the unbounded elements of the real world of life, living, and production. Thank you very much, Charles. On the basis of this declaration, we have some actions to do. We have a lot of follow-up. This is really just part of the process of the renewal and the reaffirmation of the friendship and the relationship between Europe, Latin America, and the Caribbean. We have spoken a lot over the last few days, and you'll have a lot of questions, I have no doubt, to ask. Thank you very much.